So I've been seeing this trend on YouTube about frugal living and minimalism and if they're compatible or not. And so today I wanted to talk about why I am moving more towards frugal minimalism. If you search frugality on YouTube, you will likely find extreme couponers, bargain hunters, people who only shop sales. You will see extreme grocery hauls, extreme grocery budgets. You will find quite a bit in the area of frugality. I am not one of those. I do not cut coupons. I do not only shop sales. I'm not a bargain hunter, and I don't stock up. I am not prepping for an apocalypse over here. However, there are some things that I will do that I think would classify me as a frugal minimalist. So today I want to talk about what I do that would classify me as that. And let me just say, this is kind of my own definition of what a frugal minimalist is. I'm not going off of any working definition. I might not fit your version of frugal minimalism. I might not even fit your version of frugal. So let's get into today's video. So the first thing that I do as a frugal minimalist is, obviously, this is like the number one tip for frugal people, I make my coffee at home. This may not seem like a big deal, but I know people who go get coffee every single day. I used to work as a barista probably 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, and it's the same repeat customers a lot of the time. And so those coffees can be really expensive depending on what you get. And they're probably even more expensive now than they were back in, I think it was 2014 when I was a barista. And so I do make my own coffee at home. And on top of that, we buy cheaper versions of coffee. I am not really a coffee snob. I don't grind my own beans. I don't buy only certain types of coffee, certain brands of coffee. I typically buy store brands, and I'm okay with that. And I drink my coffee, you can't see it because it's a black cup, but I drink my coffee black. I don't put creamer, sugar, sweeteners. I don't put anything in it. I just drink it black. And it took me a while to get to this point, but my coffee is very, very minimal. And I save a lot of money by buying cheap and by just brewing it at home in my own coffee pot. And I have a travel mug that I take coffee with me wherever I go. The second thing I do, which may not seem on trend for the minimalist brand, is I see a lot of people say that they don't shop sales. And typically I don't. I don't go all around town looking for the cheapest gas. I don't browse every single last store ad, go to 15 different stores to save $1. I don't do that. However, I see a lot of hate on buying something that's on sale as a minimalist. And let me just say, if I need something, so for instance, our vacuum is getting old, and so eventually, not right now, we will need a new vacuum. I have certain brands that I prefer because in the vacuum world, I feel like if you go really, really, really uber cheap, I'm talking under the $50 range, you pretty much get what you paid for, and it's gonna be awful. However, I am not brand loyal to one specific brand, so I will look at the two or three brands that I'm okay with, and if one's on sale, I'm going to purchase that one. I've heard it said that if you wouldn't pay full price for it, then you can't afford it or you don't really need it. But I don't listen to that rule. If something's on sale that's really a need and I'm okay with a different brand, I am going to buy the thing that's on sale. Because who doesn't love to save money? I love to save money. Number 3, I do not buy luxury items or like luxury name brand items. So the minimalist aesthetic, depending on how far you go with it, some people will have very few things in their home, but what they do have are very, very expensive pieces. I've seen minimalists who have, $800 a piece chairs at their dining room table. Their lounge chair for reading is, a couple grand. Their couch is a couple grand, and that's fine. I am totally not against spending your money in a way that aligns with your values, but that's just not me. So most of our furniture is from IKEA because we have an IKEA 10 minutes away. I don't typically buy luxury brands or luxury clothing. Would they last longer? Maybe, but something in my brain cannot justify spending $3,000 on a couch. Maybe when I don't have 3 small kids and a puppy, maybe down the line that would be a thing, but right now my $700 couch that's going on 3 years is still perfectly usable and perfectly functional. It may not be completely minimalist aesthetic worthy, but it works. And I don't have a panic attack if coffee gets spilled on it. My table, which is a white table from IKEA, it extends. I think it was $700-ish. The chairs are $60 a piece, not $800. And so when my kids want to paint, they can paint because it actually wipes off fairly easily. I don't have a panic attack when markers and crayons and spills and all of this stuff all over it. And again, I've had it for almost 3 years and it's held up incredibly, incredibly well. This long sleeve shirt is from Amazon. And we can have a discussion all day long about, whether or not Amazon is beneficial to the world. But I hate clothes shopping. I hate it. I thrive with having a uniform. And so if I can order a pack of, I think this came in a 4-pack of black long sleeve shirts. I think I paid $15 for it. And these long sleeve shirts will last me well over a year. I do take care of what I have, which leads me into number 4. I use things until they are absolutely not usable anymore. I actually just had to turn an old shirt into rags because I started to discolor. I've had these, it was a short sleeve shirt. I've had these short sleeve shirts for probably 2 years, 2.5 years. And this one particular black t-shirt that I had was starting to get, it almost looked like bleach stains. I'm not sure what it was, but it was all across the chest. The neckline was starting to wear out. I will use things until they are absolutely not usable anymore. I could go grab my pair of Toms that I've had. I've had those Toms for probably 5 or 6 years, and on the right shoe, the pinky toe is starting to slowly push out of the side. So I can keep things very minimal, but I also use things until they're physically not usable and falling apart. And people make fun of me for this sometimes. Like, why don't you just go buy a new pair of shoes? And I will. I only own 3 pair, so eventually I probably will, because I'm not gonna wear sandals in the winter. I live in the Midwest. Not feasible to wear sandals in the winter. I could wear my tennis shoes, but I do like to have a pair of Toms because for my one dress, if I have to go to a funeral or if I have to go to a wedding and it's not in the middle of summer, Toms dress up well. Tennis shoes, not really. So yes, I use things until you physically can't use them or they break. The last thing that I do as a frugal minimalist, this could be classified as just the environmentalist in me, but more than I do it for the environment, I do it because I want to save money. And that is, I turn off all of the lights except for the ones I'm using. So in my house right now, the kitchen lights, which is a light on the ceiling, and then I have 3 lamps that hang down over the island, and they all turn on together. You don't have an option to like only turn one on. But I turn off all of the lights, I unplug everything, and I think I learned this from Prepper Princess. I don't remember where I got this from, but I turn off everything. I unplug everything, I turn everything off. Now that it's springtime in the Midwest, as long as it's above about 45 degrees, maybe 40 degrees, I turn off our AC and our heat. If it gets too warm in the house, I'll open windows. If it gets a little too chilly, I'll start layering. It has to get pretty cold or pretty hot to use the air conditioning and heating. And we used to live in the Pacific Northwest, and we did not have central AC when we lived there in our base housing. So we are kind of used to not having central AC when it's hot outside and having to just cope. And one of the things that we learned in the 7 years that we lived there was early in the morning when it's still cool outside to open up all of the windows and cool your house down, and early in the morning, and then it helps it stay cool throughout the day. So now that we do have central AC and central heating, we try and keep it off as much as we can to keep our electric bills low. We would like to get our electric bill to about $90 a month. I think last month, we used a lot last month, but we would like to get it to $90 to $100, and that might be a lot for you. We're a family of 5. We live in about 1,200 square feet. That $75 to $90 range would really work out well for us. We're home all day long with the exception of my husband. And I have not always been frugal in this area. So we're working on that. Anyways, these are 5 areas where I am a frugal minimalist. I've seen a lot of this talk on YouTube lately because I think the two are conflated. You can be frugal and not be a minimalist, and you can be a minimalist and not be frugal. But sometimes I think it's almost a necessity depending on what stage of life you're in, your income level, where you live, and what your goals are, like financial goals. So if your goal is to get out of debt or to save for retirement, then obviously you don't want to be spending $3,000 on a new couch. So it just depends where you are in life. Anyways, let me know down in the comments if you're frugal, if you're a minimalist, if you're both, and I will see you in the next video.